guys, so today I am doing a video on my current foundation routine, a very long-lasting foundation routine. Long-lasting in that it lasts a long time, and long-lasting in that this video is very long-lasting because it is very in-depth. I'm going to take you through step-by-step exactly what I do, from my primer to the foundation to my little trick that I have with that, and bronzer and blush and everything. So I take you through the whole thing. Before I get started, I don't think I mentioned this in the video, but I do have oilier skin that is technically combination because my cheeks get dry, this area gets really dry, but this area right here, I wouldn't really call it my T-zone because I get so dry right here, but I'm oily right here. So really oily where I get oily, and I am prone to breakouts. I know that my skin always looks good on camera and stuff, but I do break out. I do struggle with that, and I do have to use products that really kind of really are good with that because it will break out on a whim. So I'm really loving the foundation that I'm using in this video for that. Yeah, but you can use whatever you want and hopefully take some of my tips with you, especially if you don't want to use every single similar product. I think that you can still hopefully pick up some good tips along the way. And I didn't really cut anything out other than just in between with me like getting products ready. Like I really showed everything, so I just didn't want to condense the video down. I'm just into showing everything. I wanted you guys to see all the steps and truly what I was doing. So long video, does not take me this long to do it, but when you're explaining, it's you get me. So keep watching for all the tips, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. Alright, so I'm going to start with these two products. I use the Hourglass Veil, and I've had this for a while, and I just recently tried this, so I'm not meaning to use all Hourglass products. I'm just really loving these. And the Immaculate Liquid Powder Foundation, I use the shade Shell. And I've said this before, but I don't like the feeling of this on my bare skin, so I mix it in with my foundation. I use this F84 brush, and I always start right in the middle. And you look really attractive for just a couple minutes while you're spreading it around. But see, like, it's all gone from my hand. I just feel like it doesn't go very far with that. They say not to use that foundation with a sponge. Maybe it's because I'm using it with a brush and the brush is soaking up a lot of it, like more than any traditional foundation. I find that that one is almost like a thick, I said like mousse in the last video that I talked about it in, but it does feel sort of like a mousse. But you can see it covers really well. I mean, I'm not even near done blending it yet, but it goes on really smooth when you mix it with the primer, and I feel like I get the same exact benefits as I do as if I would have just put the primer on first. So it's a good little tip if you don't like that extra step, you don't like that feeling of primer on your skin, which I don't. I'm just very strange about stuff like that. I just hate the way that primer feels. It just feels greasy to me most of the time. And then I don't put extra foundation on my neck. I try to match it up pretty good so I don't have to do that. But even when you get the best match, sometimes, you know, you can tell a little bit of a difference. So I just take whatever's left on the brush and just take it down. My biggest tip for foundation, I've said this so many times, do not apply foundation in a manner which you want to cover up everything. That's what concealer's for. You will end up with a really fake look. You might think it looks great now, but in a couple of hours it's gonna look a hot mess. I really love the MAC Studio Finish concealer for blemishes. I've seen a lot of people like try to use this as their under eye concealer and then say like, oh, I hate that, that's the worst stuff ever. I would never dream of putting this stuff under my eyes because it is a drier formula, and that's why I like it on my skin, because once it's there, like, it sets up and it is really, really good coverage. I'm using the F63 little concealer brush by Sigma. I like using little rounded brushes like that. So I just dab it everywhere. I'm not worrying a whole lot about blending it. I can go back with my finger and do that. Or I just, you know, sometimes I just use my finger. And yeah. Because you're just going to have to deal with this weird hairstyle trying to keep it on my face. Before I use any other setting powder, I do my under eye concealer. I have been using this Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, which I've been talking about for years. I absolutely love this stuff, and I used to use the fair shade, which was like the actual skin tone shade, which I'm going to pick up another one of those soon, but I've been using the Dior BB, which is similar. Like, it's got coverage, like, not super great coverage, but enough to where I can just get away with using like a brightening product afterwards. But that's what this was. It was like a brightening pink product, and since it's almost gone, I started using my MAC Prep and Prime Radiant Rose, which I'd had since these came out, and I found that I needed a new one because it had dried out a bit. So I bought a new one, and this one has a lot better coverage. So I just trace it in those areas that are shadowy, and then just put like a little whisker or two out there. And what I love about this, blend it in first, but what I really love about this stuff is that it works on the under eye area, and I'm really picky about that. Like, I don't like things that are too drying. But you can also use it on other areas of your face. Like, you can highlight your nose, you can, you know, so you don't have to use a million different products. So it's a really cool highlighting product, and it's not like shimmery or anything. It's just really brightening. Okay, so that's pretty good. To set my under eye area, I either use the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, which is a loose product, but lately I have been using this diffused light shade by Hourglass. This one that is a little more yellow, which I normally wouldn't put under my eye, but it's so sheer, you know, that it just sort of sets the stickiness of it and keeps it from, you know, keeps things from clinging. I'm using my Chanel Bronze Universal and this F40 brush by Sigma. It is a synthetic brush. It comes in that bunny kit. I don't think that they sell this one separate, but you can use even like a brush like this F40 that I use. That one is just a bit more dense. I start it right there, and see, I just apply the tiniest amount, and I can always use a powder bronzer on top of this, like for more color, but this one I think is just, I have a video on this too, but the point of this stuff is really just like, it's a bronzing makeup base, so I think it just sort of works with your foundation just to sort of warm up your skin tone, and just sort of lightly give you like a natural bronzed look. As always, on my temples, on my hairline. That's always pretty flattering to do. You can do a little bit on your nose. It's just so light and flattering. And then I just sort of, since I'm using a smaller brush, you just want to use like larger strokes. I just think that using a smaller brush with this is better, because if you use a bigger one, you can really get carried away with this stuff. As long as you blend, you're good. But see, that just sort of warmed me up a little bit, and this stuff I found is so long wearing. I mean, it is crazy how long wearing this stuff is. So I like to put that down first, even if I'm going to use a powder bronzer after, which of course I totally am. It's the Nars Translucent Crystal Light Reflecting Setting Powder. I'm using that big brush, the F25. This is my favorite brush for setting powder. And I just sort of start it right here. A long time ago when I used the MAC Emphasize highlighting powder, I always said, you know, take a little bit and put it right there, and it just sort of I mean, that I haven't used or talked about that in years, but it's just such a good tip, and something that, you know, you kind of forget to do. Like I said, I haven't done that in so long, or I haven't made it a point to like say to do that, but I think, you know, naturally, like when I do apply highlighting products, I sort of start there. So just lightly, it just gives you a really nice glow. And then, I know I've talked about the Hourglass powders a lot. I could have done that with that same diffused light shade, but I'm really liking that Nars. It's kind of cool. And then, you don't have to use this many products by any means, but I just really love these, and they do give my skin such a nice glow. So I'm going to use the Luminous Light shade now, and this brush that it comes with, and I just sort of start that on the top of my cheeks and sort of like dust it out. And I'm using the Too Faced Sun Bunny Natural Bronzer and the Chanel No. 2, sort of like this angled brush. And I use the dark shade first and the shorter side of the brush, and just sort of like touch it where you contour. And then apply it like I always apply bronzer, nothing super special. And then that sort of creates a natural contour, and it sort of goes over that Chanel, which the Chanel product isn't like super creamy. It's so like light feeling. And then whatever's left on the brush, I sort of sweep over my nose. And you can even take a little more. You can even use the lighter color so it's not too intense on your forehead. And just kind of follow that hairline area that we applied it to. And then I like to take the lighter shade on the fluffier part of the brush and sort of apply it a little bit higher where you'd apply like your bronzer normally, like where the sun would hit. And then that can just be kind of swept all over. And then whatever's left on the brush, you can just sort of kind of sweep all over. I've been talking about my Chanel blushes so much, I'll use something different. I'll use this Benefit Rockateur, which I've talked about a lot too, but you know, gotta use what you like. I never go in too far with the blush. I think it's just more flattering if you do it like right on your outer apples rather than put it so close. I just think it's more flattering that way, and you can even sort of sweep back and forth, but I mostly just kind of concentrate it in that area and then sort of, to blend it, just sort of go back and forth like that. So then next I would do my eyes. At the end and the beginning of the video you'd probably see what they looked like when they were done, but I will do a video next week sort of similar to what I would do for that. Sort of like a get ready with me video. I'll definitely speed up the foundation application for that since I was like so in depth in this video. And then to really sort of prolong it, I really do believe in makeup setting sprays. For the most part I used to think they were kind of gimmicky, but I'm really finding this is a good one, and this is an older bottle. I think the bottle even looks different now, but they have a bunch of different ones. It's the Urban Decay All Nighter. Sometimes I just spray it directly on my face, but what I really like to do, because I don't ever like to look powdery, and I don't find that I look powdery when I use this anyways, the Nars setting powder, which I'm starting to really become obsessed with, but I've always just sort of sprayed my brush like this and then dab over any areas that might look powdery. And then when you do your eyes, you can definitely spray over everything, but a lot of times I just don't like doing that because I don't like it to get on my hair and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to do my eyes really quick. Alright, so that's it. Of course, my eyes and everything I'm not going to show because this is a foundation video and it's been long enough because I was really in depth with what I was doing. Didn't really skip around a lot, so I will be doing a video next week, I believe, that's going to be more like a get ready with me video. That is my, this go-to look that I do all the time. It's really super simple. Of course, I'll kind of speed through the foundation in that one, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and that if you're prone to breakouts and you've got some of my similar skin issues, that you'll check out that Immaculate because it's good stuff. So yeah, I know I've been talking a lot about Hourglass products lately, but it's truly things that I've been loving, things that I've purchased, and that I've been enjoying. So a lot of good new discoveries lately. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.